Welcome to the Out of the Trance podcast. I'm your host, Andrea DeBellis. Today, we're going to do something really interesting. I'm joined here with Yana. Yana and I actually met on a cruise, which also sounds strange, but it was a cruise for digital nomads and entrepreneurs. And we met, and Yana is visiting here in Ericeira, and she's going through a transition. So today we're going to talk about hypnotherapy in the context of Yana's transition and then actually do a session. So welcome, Yana. So much fun to be doing this with you.
Thank you. It's really lovely to visit you here after the cruise, as you said, and I really love the name.
Thank you.
By the way.
I appreciate that.
And yeah, it's going to be, I'm a bit nervous to be open like this. But yeah, it's also very fun because I like to be transparent and real. And I think there's a lot of value for showing people how the process might look like. And so first I would like to ask you a few questions.
That would be great.
About hypnotherapy in general. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not new to different tools and healing avenues, as they said, and starting from psychology to spirituality to really strange healing procedures. Been there, done that.
I hear you.
Yes. Just because I've always wanted to know myself better and to understand my mind and why do I do the things that I do. And I suppose we all know that majority of the issues are stemming from childhood. Yep. And I'm also a very logical person. And so talking about, let's say, business and fear of failure or even fear of failure or even fear of success, which I would like to discuss today. So logically, I understand some things, but then I keep on doing actions which are not in alignment. And so I think hypnotherapy, if you could explain a bit more, how deep does it go and like what layers does it work with?
I would be happy to. So, what you just said, right, about how you are talking about the fear of failure and the fear of success, and often one masquerades as the other, right? I'm sure you know that from doing the work that you've done and the spectrum of modalities that you've experienced. But as you said, you can think about it and you can understand it, right? And I think that's where regular therapy, like psychoanalysis, is really great. We can understand a problem by talking about it, and we can actually even change a memory incrementally every time by recalling it. But it's really, really incremental, and it takes a really long time because by virtue of the name of the therapy, we are in analysis mode. We are in the brainwave state of analysis, which is the beta brainwave state. It's also the same brainwave state as stress. We usually can't solve a problem from that level. That's usually where we're associating with the problem. However, when we start to focus on the subconscious mind, we have to use modalities that speak the language of the subconscious mind, and they are not logic and analysis. They are symbols, they are visuals, they are feelings. And when we can use the language of the subconscious mind, we can use the state of the subconscious mind, and we can actually use the tendencies of the subconscious mind, we can create change that's so much faster and more effective. And there's some studies now, and actually there's an older study that's been around since the 70s that really illustrates this. Like it really hits the nail on the head. So it talked about how this is a meta-analysis. So it took hundreds of cases of hypnotherapy versus psychoanalysis. And it showed a 93% success rate with 6 sessions of hypnotherapy versus a 38% success rate with 600 sessions of psychoanalysis. And I think we all know the program of going to therapy all the time and talking about your problems. But at one point, you're like, okay, this goes back to childhood. I know why. I understand the thing that happened. Now I'm mad at my mom, right? So you're going to yell at an old lady. She's cute now, and she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember what she said or did. And you find yourself without the tools to actually create the change neurologically. And that's what I love about hypnotherapy is it works with the neural pathways to create the change in less time. So you're doing all of this stuff that could take 20 years, or it can be 6 sessions. So that's a long answer to
amazing.
To your question.
No, thank you so much. And what would you say a spectrum? I suppose it covers a really large spectrum of issues, but maybe you can kind of show.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, so a lot of times I think probably the most popular use case for hypnotherapy is like habit change, like quitting something. Mm-hmm. So like you probably know of someone who's like quit smoking through hypnotherapy or had success with like nail biting. And unfortunately, that's kind of been such a narrow understanding of it. And then we also have the Hollywood version of like, just bullshit, basically.
I love the
word. I could go into the different ways of how it's bullshit, but it just it's a mischaracterization. But the habit aspect is really great because most of what we don't like, most of our thinking is habits, right? So when we are reliving a memory or what the subconscious has decided, or the kind of part of the brain, the amygdala has decided, oh, this is worth remembering. There's something here that I need to avoid, to not do, a pattern I need to create to protect my person, because that's what our subconscious is trying to do. It's trying to protect its person. That turns into a habit because it turns into a neural pathway, right? So there's a road that we take to this destination. So everything is habitual. Right? So it can be as obvious as like a smoking habit, or it could be the thoughts we think when we have a certain emotion, or even the emotion we feel when a certain external stimuli happens, right? So that's a habit. So in essence, you can use some of the same processes of change for almost anything, from OCD to quitting smoking to limiting beliefs. There's a couple applications where you would use a completely different process. Some of them are around pain sensation, but the habit model of change can be applied almost always to create, the change that someone's looking for in their life.
That's amazing. Thank you. And what would you say, I actually have a lot of questions here. What would you say the success rate would depend? Like why would a person be easier to change their thought patterns than another one?
That's a great question. And I think that's a big thing when people come into hypnotherapy. They're like, okay, am I going to be a good enough subject? Like, can I get into hypnosis, right? And a lot of people have a lot of like pride around like, you're not going to hypnotize me. But actually, as you do more hypnosis and you can get better at going into trance, and it's a skill you want to have, because what that means is that like you can create malleability and do basically directed neuroplasticity and create neural change. And that is something that you want to be able to do and direct in your life. And you want to be able to like be coachable, be able to go into trance. And the more you know about trance, also it allows you to know when it's happening on a mass level. And that's why the podcast is called Out of the Trance, because the same, the state of trance is also used to help you come out of your personal trance and then out of the collective trance. So that's a little bit of a frame. But the in terms of success in the ability to change is typically if somebody is willing to come to a session, right? There's so many parts of the change process that have already happened by the time they make the call to me, right? So you have probably been dealing with something over and over and said, okay, now I'm going to do something about it. So you're already stepping into agency before we even had a conversation. Then you're getting on a call. Typically, the call will be a consultation for both parties. Like, is this issue something where hypnotherapy is, indicated or useful? Does the person have any like glaring personality disorders that I don't want to work with them? There's that. Or, is this person coachable, right? And usually you won't get to that session with the person unless they are. So by the time someone's arrives at that session, we've already done like 20% of the work, because so much comes out in the session of talking about what you're going to work on. And then I have a process to where I think like there's basically a model for change. And it is at the basis of almost all hypnotherapy or NLP or change work methods, and even some like regular psychology methods, usually in longer form, right? and even cognitive behavioral in longer form. But if you're using those methods, and I think that there's probably actually there's a ton, but there's 6 techniques that I really like. And maybe with somebody, the first one's not going to nail it. Sometimes it does. And maybe the second one's not going to nail it. But if we have a strategy where we do as many of them that make sense, with enough room to really understand the person and where their associations are, I have a process that takes you through all of them. And it is 6 sessions because I really do, like the research of the 6 sessions. It's a nice number where we're probably going to hit it at 4, if not sooner. Mm-hmm. And then we have some integration afterwards. So if you get to the point of going through the process, there's a high rate of success. I actually have most of my clients, continue. They have changes that, they've been trying to change or create in their lives for years, decades in some cases. And they're really surprised how much we get done in 6 sessions.
The power.
So I don't have an actual number, but I do think that the study from Barrios and colleagues, I guess. I'll put the study in the notes, but that 93% success rate in 6 sessions is the average. Is that my average? I don't know, but I aim for 6 sessions, and I usually have a lot of happy clients.
I mean, with this type of work, you really can't know how a person might react. This leads me to another question. Do you think the willingness to change plays a big role? Because in my life, I have seen that as I realized recently, I hold on to some things in my life that, even if it's suffering, but because it's comfortable to me, I just don't want to change. And when you actually realize and you take responsibility for that change, it's you're not going to help me unless I really want to do this step. So
yes, and you're exactly right. And that's what I mean about when someone's willing to pick up the phone and do it, and then come to the session and then invest in themselves time-wise. I mean, these sessions are usually 2 hours, at least starting, because we're doing a good hour of talking and analysis, some conversational hypnosis, and then we do a change work practice, right? So the sessions are long, and the person's taking time out of their life, right? So the idea is that they come willing. However, there's something in hypnotherapy and change work called a secondary benefit, right? So a lot of times, something that we aren't changing, that we can say cognitively, I don't want to do this anymore. It's giving us a secondary advantage, and there's a gain, right? So usually we figure out what that gain is, and then there's a choice to be made. Now that we're aware of this, do we want to hold on to it or do we want to not? I've had periods in my life where it's okay, I've done the work and I got the awareness of now I know what my secondary gain of this is. And I've been able to consciously say, I'm not ready to give it up yet, or I'm not ready to change yet. That's a whole other process. There's a surrender in doing that allows it to come, but there's a choice to be made in the process. And then sometimes I've had situations where somebody says, I'm ready to give part of it up. So we work that part of it, but by the end of the process, I'm ready to give all of it up. So yes, the willingness to change, once you see what the pattern is, you're empowered and you have choice. But one of the things that I've noticed a lot is that there's a lot of personal responsibility involved. And when you want to move from the effect side of life into the cause side of life, you have to be willing to accept the responsibility. And it's surprising sometimes how unwilling we are. And I can say this from my own personal experience.
Yes. I am not the specialist here, but I can say that my real journey to healing began from real honesty and taking responsibility. But before that, it was all kind of... we're trying, but not really looking into the things that need attention. Yeah,
and that's really that step into change, is being okay, I'm willing to take this step into realize I'm the cause of my problems, but that's a great thing because that means that I'm the cause of the solution, right? So there's there's so much benefit, but it's not a generally easy step.
No.
But well done for seeing that and being in this space. And I want to talk about, where you are. You're at a major period of transition, reviewing things, looking forward. And let's talk about what you want to work on today, if you don't mind. Or did you have any more questions, first of all?
No, that's, we can go on to the really interesting, scary part. That was really insightful. Thank you.
But if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's great. We'll talk more about it. I'm very interested in this subject.
I love it.
It's really interesting to explore why we do the things we do.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
How we come out of the trance.
Yes, exactly. Perhaps it would be great to touch upon this kind of self-sabotaging and fear. It's really interesting. It's fear of failure and also fear of success. So I lived many years in Dubai, and I had quite a good career in tech. And then I started a business that was completely based on like logic and trend, and was really motivated by moving away from my career. And so it was not really excitement to go towards something. It was really about, what can I do now to, sorry, my nipple probably was showing it. No,
we edit out nipples here. It's fine.
Okay, let's, from where?
We have a nipple search and we just edit it. Right.
Love it. This is going really well. Okay, so backtrack from where? Okay, great. Thanks. I was just like open here. Okay, so backtrack. Okay, so yeah.
This is really descending quite fast. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Oh, great. Okay.
All right.
Let's be serious. All right. This is just nerves. Okay.
You said the last thing. Water. The last thing you said was, and was that you were in Dubai.
Yeah,
and the business.
Was in Dubai. Yeah. So I worked for quite a few years in Dubai in the tech industry, and I wasn't enjoying anymore what I was doing, and I wanted to create a business. And so while working, I started investing into an area that I wasn't really skillful at, and it was really kind of like logical and following a trend. So I started a skincare company, which is, a very competitive industry, and it wasn't really something that was calling me, but it was, I was just moving away from like, how can I stop my career and just like go towards this business? So it was already based on like a negative energy and lots of fears and kind of like trying to run away from something.
Okay.
And I invested a lot of time and effort and money into this business, and I kept failing. I kept sabotaging myself. I kept feeling bad about myself for probably more than 2 years. And I think that the effects of it are still in my life, although, as I said, logically, I understand that, hey, people start things and they fail. I've had a business before back in my home country, and I was quite successful with it. And, it's like, it's not such a big deal. Okay, we can move on. But somewhere deep down inside, whenever I try to start something or even look into something, I always self-sabotage myself. I'm always...
Now you're doing this.
Yes,
okay.
I'm always busy with other things. I find a million different reasons for why I don't need to do this, or maybe business is not my thing anymore, which it is, because I'm very entrepreneurial and creative, and I actually get... I feel the passion inside, but then like the fears are stopping me. And so it's a cycle of... And again, logically, like I know a lot about psychology and a lot the how I operate, but then, something deep inside is just holding me back.
Yeah. Okay. And as you said, you know a lot of it logically, and that's great actually, because that is part of it, right? The analysis and the awareness, they don't not have to be done, right? But I can tell by some of the things that you're talking about, like with the, that it's not just fear of failure, it's also fear of success, right? So you already understand some of that, like mechanisms around the secondary gain. The other one is that you talked about the away from motivation. So there's the toward motivation and the away motivation, right? So you were motivated away from the job. So even though the business didn't work out the way you wanted, it did get you away. So it was serving its purpose, but that's where you were motivating from.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I do from, I'm not going to be afraid to say it, since childhood. So I grew up in a third world country and not in a very financially stable family. And so, yeah, my motivation all my life was kind of away from poverty, away from struggle, away from, so yeah, I would really like to teach myself to move towards things because I believe it's a more wholesome approach to life.
Absolutely. It's easier. It feels better eventually. But the key is that, away motivation, it's how most people operate. And if you look at entrepreneurs' success initially, a lot of it comes from an away motivation. Like if it were me as an investor, I would always bet on the person with a point to prove, somebody who came from humble beginnings, because they have more to prove. They are moving away. And it's very, very powerful. But it's like that saying, what got you here doesn't get you there, because it kind of sucks, right? Like you have to be in total discomfort to be motivated.
Yes.
And then when you find yourself in levels of comfort, you start to look for, it starts to spin around on itself. Yeah. So that motivation isn't inherently bad. It's just eventually once you realize that you're like, okay, I want to motivate from somewhere else. But it's often like, how do we find that? Because the away is very strong. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's moving away from pain or scarcity or poverty is, we don't want to experience this. So we want, it's a lot more powerful.
It's very maybe powerful. Don't remove that one. Actually, it's a very helpful one to have. I would like to have such an awareness to have actually the ability to motivate myself both ways. That would be, yeah.
Yeah, and you want to be in a situation where the nervous system is calming. You're not in survival.
Yes.
And you don't need to be back into it in order to motivate. So that's always, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I have this as well. I would succeed in something, but the thermostat was down here at survival. So then I would sabotage it. I would take, a great opportunity and fuck it up. And really, very creative, very personalized ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know we can go. Yeah, very interesting. Ways.
It's an interesting one because when we start to find our patterns, we're always looking at the external bit, right? But when we really go into the inner, we have to find that inner pattern because it can show up in very, very different ways. And it sounds like you've done a lot of the work around the awareness, which will be really helpful to our process. But I want to ask you about the initial successful business. You said you had a successful business first. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
That was interesting because that one was completely unplanned. I initially started as something completely different, and then it just grew organically. It was a product business, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's very interesting. It wasn't planned, like that's logically planned. It just kind of happened naturally, and I was really excited. And I was a lot younger, so it felt like a lot lighter. There was not so much on the line, I guess. Yes, exactly. So yeah, like being in Dubai, and it's like, oh my God, if I fail at this, and also the environment there, it's like you don't want to feel like a failure because it's all about success and wealth there.
A lot more eyes on you.
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah, business in Moldova, the business in Dubai is a very different feeling for sure. It just happened kind of very organically.
And what did that feel like when it started happening and you started succeeding? And what was occurring to you while you were having success?
I'm trying to remember this because it was quite a few years ago, but I was really enjoying it. And it was, I remember it was a lot of fun. It was light. I was just doing the things that I enjoyed, and it was just going really well until I had a business partner that kind of, unfortunately, got involved and took it away, basically.
So how long did you run the business and feel that feeling of like, hey, this is going really well before that happened?
How long?
Yeah.
At least a year and a half.
Okay. And then what was that like for you when it was taken away?
Heart-shattering. Let's put it this way. It felt really unfair, and because, a lot of the idea, the investment, basically everything. It was like my baby. So, that felt very, very, a lot of betrayal and a lot of hurt. And, and I I couldn't do anything at the moment about this. So I felt really helpless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was quite young.
betrayal.
Yeah.
And did that come as a surprise to you, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it came as a total surprise for sure. So yeah, that was a good lesson about documenting everything and doing everything properly legally. But now that I'm thinking about it, I was told a story because I obviously I wasn't aware that my grandparents were quite successful in their wealth, let's say, in many years ago. So I was told a story by my mother that my grandparents were quite wealthy. They accumulated wealth, and that was around the Second World War. And so that was all taken away and they were punished. And so I'm wondering if subconsciously it feels a bit like, since this story and then also the betrayal, that perhaps I kind of built up a connection that if I'm successful, if I accumulate wealth, then it's either going to be punished or taken away from me, and hence the fear. If that feels like an option for you,
that could definitely be part of the belief pattern, right? Because we're working at the level of belief, as well as. So we're working at the level of beliefs about how the world works, but also beliefs about, what it means about you.
Yeah.
So you probably weren't consciously taking that belief, I'm guessing, into your first business. And you were probably, going along, things were going well. And the betrayal was neurologically a prediction error, right? So when something takes us by surprise, the adaptive mammalian part of the brain, the amygdala, was like, I need to remember that. So now all of a sudden there might be an association with success and it being taken from you. And if you have a story, right? So when we're young and we're told stories, we're effectively in trance until we're 7 and then partially until we're 14. So we're told stories. Those have a way of coming into our subconscious. So now you have a story and then you have individual personalized potential evidence of that sitting in the background, probably not at the forefront of your mind when you were starting the other business, but potentially informing unconscious patterns, potentially. So tell me about what motivated you? We talked about the away, but talked about what you wanted to experience in your business, because it's in the one that you developed in Dubai. It sounds like there was a lot of pre-thought and a lot of logical analysis that went into.
Oh yeah, for sure. Although, like I said, it was kind of like a trendy thing. I was already going into my yoga and spirituality journey, and so the tech industry wasn't really aligned with my values.
And that's what you were working in.
Yeah. And so I decided skincare, natural skincare, and it was I wasn't very passionate about it, but it felt like it's something that I could do for myself that's actually more interesting than what I'm currently doing. What was the question again? Sorry.
What were you thinking about? Not what were, I didn't mean, what were you thinking? No. What, I didn't, it sounded like
what the fuck was I thinking? Sorry.
I didn't mean it that way. But
sorry.
But it sounds like it was a well thought out plan, right?
What was I thinking as in terms of?
Yeah, what was making it a good idea for you? That made you want to invest?
Okay. And I wanted the freedom and the flexibility to work on my own conditions, not to go to an office, not to spend in traffic 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And just, do something for myself. More financial freedom and to travel, the usual things that entrepreneurs want, I suppose. Yeah, and to challenge myself as well.
So some nice toward motivation there, actually. Yeah. I want to create things for myself. And it sounds like there was a lot of planning around the strategy of it.
Oh, for sure. It was, I've researched a lot, but there's a lot of analysis paralysis as well. So lots of information, lots of working with other people as well, investing in different avenues of advertising and strategies and things like that. But again, it was also, I'm trying, like logically I understand because it was right before COVID happened.
Okay.
And skincare is also a very, very competitive industry. And so you need a lot of investment to be seen and to, and like you need to know what you're doing, basically, like not having the experience and the skills, not being in the right time on the market as well.
Timing,
of course. So now I understand all this, but somewhere deep down there, it's like you're a failure. You failed. It's you.
And so that part is really like, that's the part that's really coming for you now.
Yeah, it's this, and also it's interesting. It's this, and also kind of like fear of success at the same time. I don't know.
Tell me about that in the context of like your next moves, or how much were you thinking about your first business when you started your second business?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. So none of that was like consciously thought about. That wouldn't happen again.
No.
Okay.
No, seems like not.
Okay. So there was some away motivation, some toward motivation. You wanted to create an entrepreneurial life for yourself. You were picking something that was aligned with you, but also made sense as well. So like you're kind of covering all bases, right? So
you'd think.
No, it sounds like there was a lot of, it was well thought out. So it sounds like another prediction error occurred when you didn't predict it failing, as you said. So let's qualify what that means. So like, what are you experiencing now as you think about what happened?
When I think about what happened, it's a lot of frustration and anger with myself and feelings of failure for sure.
And what does that mean to you? What does failure mean? Like, what did it mean that you failed in that situation? What does it mean about you?
That I am a failure. Which again, my brain wants to say, don't say that because you know better, but this is how I feel. That's what...
You know, cognitively it's not true, but that's what you're afraid of being the truth.
Yeah.
Is that inaccurate? Okay.
Yeah.
So you were afraid that is what that means.
Well, to disappoint myself and others.
And which others?
My family... myself, that's the biggest.
What's more important in terms of that disappointment? Who did you feel more, yourself or others?
These are tricky questions. Others.
And how did you feel them?
Oh gosh, in my
in your
internal world, yes.
Yeah. We're not talking about reality.
It feels like, I wasn't successful financially, and so I cannot help my family, and I cannot provide whatever life that I would like to provide. Yeah.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with ego bruise. This has nothing to do with, or very little to do with, I look stupid, or I did. This is to do with survival. If I can't support myself, then other people are gonna fall with me. So this is very existential for you.
Yeah, I guess. It feels big now.
Okay,
it is big.
So, and as you project into the next thing that you want to do, how much of that fear is coming up?
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And it's funny now that we're exploring this. It feels really, it's very black and white, all or nothing. Like I don't see it as a gray area. You know, it could succeed, but in a few years, or it could succeed a little bit or not. It's like either I make it or I am done.
And survival is, right? It's binary. It's like dead or alive, right? It's life or death, right? So when something is representing something existential, something life or death, it is very black and white. So I think we've kind of hit something and lit up some neurology. So
I'm giddy and nervous.
Yeah, because I could tell a little emotion there. So we have to light it up. Otherwise we don't get the change. We have to create that association. So tell me first how you want to feel, and then how you want to feel going into your next business. Then we're going to do some hypnosis and work on this.
I want to feel creative and free and expansive and playful and enthusiastic. There's a lot of requests.
There's a lot of exciting curiosity that you want to experience in your life, and you want the means and freedom to do that, don't you?
Exactly.
Without the existential
heaviness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we have a good place to start. So I want to tell you what we're doing. I think it's, I'm not a big fan of like, let's do some stuff, right? So we want to bring up that feeling again, the one that got you be like, that felt heavy, lights up your neurology. And we're going to work.
Just to like mention wet hands completely.
Okay.
That's the first sign of I get really nervous.
Great. I mean, but also, but the thing is that when we have to associate with something, like I said, we can talk about chill blue in the face, and we can make very, very incremental change. But what we'll do is we'll just basically go into, I don't want to go into full moments, but I think the best thing is to go into how you feel about it now, what scares you about it now versus going into the narrative of what happened. So we'll work in the present and as we review the past, and we'll disassociate you from that. We'll work on bringing back in that lightness, and then we'll kind of collapse those two meanings together. So let's see if we can change that sweating and that sort of neural response right now.
Perfect.
Okay, so you've gone into trance before. Yes. Okay, so it'll just feel, I'm sure, as you know, it's not like you're going to be, you might, well, let's just, I don't need to describe trance to you because you've gone into it before.
Yeah. Let's hope I don't go too deep. If anything, just pour water on me.
I'll wake you up. No, I'll count you up. Okay. So just go ahead and just relax yourself where you're sitting. And, it's really up to you to go into trance. And it's really up to you to, do the things that you need to do to relax yourself. So typically I like to start with the eyes open instead of closed. Unfortunately, we have this very big light. So I'm going to ask you to roll your eyes back and up, and I want you to stare at a point on the ceiling that's just above my head. Are you staring at a light when you do that?
Yeah, but it's not a problem. So just open eyes, right?
Yeah, open eyes, but go ahead and come down from the light. So just go above my head. Okay. So your eyes are strained just a little bit. They're a little bit above the eye line. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in and exhale the breath. So exhale everything out and really start relaxing the body. So what we want to do is we want to focus the mind and relax the body. Take another nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath. Keep the eyes open. Very good. So everything in the peripheral vision just starts to fade away. The eyes lock on one spot. You're going to take a deep breath in now, and you're going to hold the breath. So take a nice deep breath in now and hold the breath at the top. It's okay if your eyes are starting to water or blink or get tired. It's perfectly normal. Not yet, but in just a moment, you're going to close your eyelids down and exhale the breath. Perfect. So just rest your eyes. Feel that nice, relaxing feeling in and behind the eyes. Let all the muscles and the nerves behind the eyes just start to completely relax. And notice how nice it is to completely relax your eyes. Just allow that quality of relaxation to move throughout the entire body. Allow that quality of relaxation behind your eyes to move down through your jaw, through your chest, through your heart, through your stomach. And really feel a nice letting go in the torso. And you might find that you relax more when you take deep letting go breaths. And anything that you need to do now to relax yourself even more. Some people shift position to get a little bit more comfortable in the chair. Some people relax their breath, spend a little bit longer on the exhale. Some people might focus on the air coming in and out through their nose. And some people might just relax into the chair that they're sitting on. So you do whatever you need to do to take that relaxation just a little bit deeper. And you'll notice now that your eyes are so relaxed, that the quality of relaxation you have in your eyes is so relaxed that they just don't want to work. And you might find that no matter how hard you try to open them, they just won't work. And when you're sure that if you hold on to that quality of relaxation, they just won't work, you can test them and you can stop trying now and just let them completely relax. And just let that drifting, floating feeling move all the way down through the body. And just taking some nice deep breaths at your own level of comfort. You might also notice a tingling in one of your hands and one of your palms. You might notice that one of those hands feels warmer than the other. And just bringing that attention now into your hands and letting it move down into your fingertips to where you feel a little bit of a tingling. And that sensation that you feel in your body, it's always there, but isn't it nice to be tapped into that now? So now, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and close them again. And when you close them again, it's going to allow you to double your present level of relaxation. So now open your eyes, close them down, all the way down. Very good. Double the relaxation. You don't have to try to make it happen. Just allow it to happen. And just feeling now like a blanket of relaxation is covering your body, relaxing you and taking you even deeper with every breath. And we're going to do that one more time. And this time when you close your eyelids back down, you'll 10 times the level of relaxation you have now. So open your eyes, close them all the way down. Very good. Feel yourself relaxing even deeper. And now I want you to picture that you're at the top of a flight of stairs, a gentle flight of stairs that takes you down to a place that you feel so safe, your safe place anywhere in the world, that the deepest levels of your mind can open up and transform. So give this set of stairs 10 steps. See yourself, feel yourself moving on to step number 10. Slowly moving down, see your feet touching step number 9. Going even deeper now, step 8. Really letting go with step number 7. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Taking step number 6. As you let loose, turn loose and go even deeper. Number 5. Halfway there now. Really letting go even more with step 4. And 3. And maybe taking a letting go breath with 2. Getting even deeper with 1. And just stepping now into your safe place. And here in your safe place, you realize that you're here for a very important reason. And because you're here in hypnosis, that change is already taking place. So I want you now to breathe as you think about the fear you're feeling associated with the failure of your last business and what's keeping you from moving forward. And I want you to go into it and really feel it and tell me where you feel it in the body.
My chest.
What are you experiencing now? Sounds like you want to say something.
A lot of tightness.
A lot of tightness in your chest. So bringing your attention now to your chest. What do you see? Is there an image that's coming up?
I just feel a lot of fear.
Okay. So now I want you to imagine that you're in a control room in a theater and you're looking at yourself in that fear. You're looking at yourself, seeing your face and seeing your expression. So seeing your face and expression, feeling that fear, and you're able to provide coaching to you. So imagine you're on a stage, okay? You can see yourself feeling the fear, and you can imagine another actress is playing you. And it doesn't have to be you, another actress, anyone you want, but someone is playing you. And they have all the fear and they have all the same feeling in the chest, and you can see it. Can you see that now? Mm. So you're going to be able to call out some coaching to them. So I want you to tell the actress playing you how she can relieve herself from some of that fear.
Breathe and relax.
Okay.
Your body.
And is that working for her?
Yeah, and just remember there's nothing, there's just fear. There's nothing that's here really threatening you.
Because you can see that it's just her there and there's nothing threatening her. So I want you to give that coaching to her and see if that helps release the breath and the feeling in the chest.
Yes.
And what about her face? What expression is she making now?
Tense, just worried.
And what can you tell her about her worries?
They're not real. That she has the power.
Is that helping her? So let's focus on her body. Let's focus on her breathing. So let's coach her now on how to relax her breathing. Okay? So let's ask her to make her exhales longer than her inhales. Really relaxed, yeah? Right? Take another deep breath out. Let's ask her to focus on that feeling in the chest. And imagine it's a color of light that's dissolving that feeling and allowing it to expand. And tell me how that's feeling for her now.
It's, releasing, relaxing.
Okay. So let's focus on how we can make her feel lighter, more calm, and in flow from this place where the breath is relaxing, the breath is deepening. So I want you to coach her now on what might make her feel calm. I see you smiling. What's happening there?
I feel an expansion now in the chest.
From that place of expansion, what do you want for her business, for her life, calmness? What do you want to see her experiencing?
Freedom. No expansion, lightness, playfulness.
So now I want you to get on the stage and take over for her. You step into that nice, long breath, that expansion that you're feeling, so that you can feel it in your own body. That smile, that expansion. So from this place, I want you to think about your business and your growth and your life. And how does that feel?
feels like love.
It looks a lot better too.
Yeah, it feels a lot better.
Good. So what does that feel like in your body? What does the love feel like in your body?
The feeling is also here. It's just a lot more expansive and freeing, and just like a warm feeling. Doing something out of love, not out of fear.
Feels different in the neurology, doesn't it? So I want you to just feel that love expanding from the chest all over your body, and especially down to your stomach and your torso and your center of will. That's okay if you need to yawn. It's because you're releasing. That's perfect. And just now, expanding it down into your torso, into your will, and you're taking this intention with you into your will and into your life. That's perfect. That's okay. Any release you need to have with a yawn. So just taking a moment there to envision the joy, the calmness, the freedom, the curiosity. And now from this place, I want you to look back on the old business and just see all the lessons and the wisdom you learned and all the experience it gave you going forward. How does that feel now as you look at it?
A lot of acceptance and a lot of peace. Like it's happened. We can't change it, but I can do it in a completely different way now. It doesn't have to repeat the same way.
That's right. That's right. And all the toward motivation and resources of lightness are coming with you, and all the lessons are coming with you as you move forward with a sense of peace. And the good news is that even though this seemed very simple, we did is we changed the neural pathway. We shut the other door. So now this experience is associated with calm, with peace, and love. So anytime that you think about the old experience, it's only going to anchor you into that calm, that peace, and love. And when you ever need to think of that calm and peace and love, you can go right to your chest and feel your heart beating and allow it to move all the way down into your stomach. And that's going to drive you forward. And you're going to make gut decisions. You're going to rely on your gut instinct because you're going to have that connection to that love. And that love's going to send a message to your gut. And you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to follow your desire. So now in just a moment, I'm going to count you up from 1 to 5. And at 5, you'll come back fully aware into the moment, fully integrated, having created new neural pathways and a totally new neurology to motivate forward. So coming up with 1, 2, back into the room with 3, wiggling your fingers and toes, 4, eyes open with 5, and back into the moment. How are you feeling?
Giddy.
You look very good and happy and lighter. You really do. Like your eyes, like
I feel it.
Yeah.
Was that really quick?
Yeah,
It felt like
it was. I don't know how, because I don't have a clock. It wasn't super quick.
I'm just.
Yarn, how long was that?
I'm just curious because I.
25 sessions, 25 minutes.
So
that was a proper.
So that was 25 minutes.
It was. It felt very intense. Yeah.
Well, the time thing, right? So you lost time because the subconscious has no recollection of time.
For me, it felt like 3 minutes.
I was in trance a little bit with you. It felt shorter too. But when you felt that fear, it was so visible. It was like, it really, you were in it, right?
I felt it, yeah.
And how are you feeling about it now?
You can see, yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited actually. And
Can you access that fear now?
No, it feels like it's about a different person. Like it's very far away. It's not. Yeah.
That's okay. What you just said is exactly what I wanted. So it's disassociated from you. So when you were in it, like when we brought it up before we went into this session, you were already associated. That's why I was like, all right, let's get you in. So when you're associated with it, we have no resources, right? So that's why I said, okay, step away and start coaching yourself. Then you're disassociated from it. Then we can calm down from there. And then from there, we can actually give you the resources that you need, and which is just how you want to feel. Yeah. So we closed the door to that other neural pathway. So you started feeling something different in your neurology, which doesn't seem like a big thing. It's quite simple.
But it feels like a really big thing. So, it feels very different. And my logical brain would always want to say like, oh, but maybe habitually it's going to come back. And, it's very interesting to see how it's going to develop. And I need to have a lot of awareness now that I know the body feeling, how I felt during fear, and how I feel now, which is complete opposite.
Yes. So you have now like a completely different feeling to tap into. And we've created an association with that memory and the new feeling. So it was in the same place, but it feels completely differently.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're really doing is we're breaking associations and creating new ones, because associations are what drives us want to be away from something or towards something. It's what we associate with it. Like, so for example, like a heroin addict associates like intense pleasure from heroin. And then somebody who doesn't want to do it associates with like destroying your life with it, right? So when we have associations that come from an experience, they're so somatic. So like that's such an accessible tool for you, which is finding it in the body.
Yes.
And then I can give you some other tools that you can use that are similar pattern interrupters that are going to help you. If you ever come back to that feeling, it interrupts that neural pathway. So one of them, we set an anchor, but one of them is we'll give you a kinesthetic anchor. So I'll actually just show you how to use that tool now. So go ahead and close your eyes just for a moment. Just picture like a really peaceful place. Just a really lovely, peaceful place. Picture the word calm. So that's a big word that you've mentioned a couple of times, calm. All right, now open your eyes and do this. Say calm.
Calm.
Okay. And we'll do it again. So close your eyes. Picture something really peaceful, really calm. And then open your eyes. Calm.
Calm.
Super simple. So whenever you need to feel calm, just grab this. Okay. Another thing to do is that, like, I'm sure you've done a lot of somatic work, but I like things that you can do in public that don't make you look like a weirdo. So like, tapping. Yeah. Tapping's amazing, but like when I start doing it on a plane, like it scares people. So like one thing that we can just do. So I like this anchor, calm. And then you can just like get some lotion and just rub yourself, right? Sorry. You can get lotion and just like rub your arms, because all it does is tells your nervous system, okay, I'm having this thought, but it's okay, right? And you've got now this accessible anchor to, or that link between the old memory and love. So thinking about love while you rub your arms and just calm your nervous system.
That's amazing. I'm really, I've done a lot of therapies, but that was very, very, very surprisingly deep and, in my feeling very quick and not scary, not so invasive, let's say, but makes me feel completely different. So
I'm so happy.
What is the percentage of profit from my new business you want?
No, I just want to hang out with you in Bali and wherever everything takes us in the world. And you can teach me about crypto.
Yay. Agreed.
But I'm so happy that you were able to feel it, and I was able to see when you felt it, and I was able to see when you broke that association. So you were just a fantastic subject for it today.
I know it's written on me a lot. It's really,
yes, it really is. But yeah, the way that you embodied, the way that like I could see the physical kinesthetic effects of what we were doing and the associations you had I could tell when you were really thinking of the problem, and when that changed, like your whole face changed. And often after sessions, I call it, for lack of a better term, face change. So you've definitely had face change, right? Your energy changes because you yawned a few times.
Yes.
So you're releasing something. And it was so helpful for people to see that so visually. So thank you so much for being up for it, being vulnerable and sharing everything that you did.
Scary.
I know it's really
But that
brave.
was beautiful. That was, if you're ready for changes, I think this is a beautiful, non-intrusive method. It gives a bit of discomfort just to get into that
We have to light up the
fear or
neurology.
pain, but it's not, the relief that you feel is incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to observe myself and my thinking and my patterns, how they change the next few days. And exciting.
So thank you for being such a good sport. I don't know that many people that would be up for it. So I really enjoyed getting to do this, and I've never done it before. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've never recorded a session. I've certainly never done one on my podcast.
So this is a lot of first times for both of us.
Yeah,
Great.
for sure. And, with all the cameras around, to be able to relax and go into trance, like, that's amazing. I was a little nervous. I was like, it's a little bright, but...
Thank you. You are very, you know what you're doing. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Yana. And I want to you're setting out to create a YouTube channel, and you're putting things out to the world. So is there anywhere where people can find you, or is there anything you want to share about, projects that you're working on or will be working on next?
Good question. I have a little bit of everything on my channel. But I'll be traveling and sharing my travels, and I'm very passionate about different healing modalities and a bit of spirituality and different tools that people can use on their journeys of getting to know themselves. And so I'll be sharing these type of things. If there's any interest, then you can put the link below.
Yeah,
it would be great.
And feel free to share this session on your channel as well.
Thank you so much, and really grateful, that we got to do this.
Me too.
It was a lot of fun.
Me too. I really love this. Oh, thank you.